Hi, I'm Kurt, and this is Troll, our 1978 Trillium molded fiberglass travel trailer. Troll stands for Trill of a Lifetime. Original Trillium trailers have a list of information on the original trailer located on the inside of the closet door, and usually there's a list of the originally supplied equipment in there as well. One of the items that came with our trailer when we bought it in 2011 was a brown stovetop. The original cooktop had actually been painted brown by a previous owner, and not done very well. It had been applied with a brush that made it look like crap. So a couple years after buying the trailer, we stripped the old paint off it and redid it with the silver high temperature spray paint type used in on barbecues, and that helped a bit, but it's still not a really high quality piece of equipment right now. You can see how badly pitted in places the top surface is. So even though it's painted, it still doesn't look really great. One of the issues that we've had with it over the years is that we cannot travel with the stove assembled, because as we bounce down the road, the burner grates just bang around and come out of their little mounting holes and eventually fall onto the floor and make it a bit of a mess. The only thing holding the burner grates in place is a single pin cast into the unit that fits in the hole on the cooktop surface. Not a really very solid attachment. For security, we would travel with the grate tops in the sink. However, that would tend to mark up the sink surface and make it look like crap. Some of the options that we had looked at for improving our stovetop situation was to possibly buy a cover that could be installed over top of the stove and be used to hold the burner grates in place and give us a smoother surface to use, that we could put things on top of when we're not using the stove. However, the least expensive cover that I was able to find at an RV store was about $100, and I was never sure that it was actually going to quite fit. Another option would have been for me to make a cover to go over top of the stove. However, I would have ended up doing that out of wood. One positive of that option was that the unit could be built in a way that it could be used as a tray to carry stuff out to our picnic table outside the trailer, because that's where we do most of our cooking anyway. And it would be able to be used as a flat surface on top of the stove, so that again we could put stuff on top of it when we aren't using the stovetop. Unfortunately, the big problem with wood is that if the stovetop isn't hot at all and we put a wooden surface down on top of it, we're looking at a fire hazard, and if not fire, at least scorching and discoloration. So that wasn't going to be a suitable option either. Last fall, however, I was able to locate a used stove that somebody was selling from a tent trailer that they were decommissioning and putting into other use. And this stovetop was intended for taking outside of the tent trailer and mounting on a table mounting strip on the outside of the trailer so that it could be used outside. Of course, part of the design was that it had a cover that also had windscreens on the side and would be quite suitable for use outdoors. I was able to buy that for about $40, and it is the exact same size as this existing brown unit. So today's video, we're going to take this stovetop apart and pull it out, and we will replace it with the newer unit. So let's get at it. First things first, gonna make sure that the propane supply is closed, and we'll disconnect the propane line just to make sure that there's no gas going to come out and cause problems inside the trailer. Next on the agenda, we just take the grates off, pull the knobs off the stove, and set them aside. This brown stovetop is just clipped onto the bottom parts of the unit, so we just have to lift the top up, and that can be taken away, and you can see how easy it would be to actually paint that. Just clean it up a little bit and give it another spray with some paint, and that could be usable again by somebody else. And the actual stovetop itself is held in place by 4 screws. The inside of a stove like this is very simple. The gas comes in at the back of the unit through a line that connects through a flare fitting into a header that then feeds into each of the burners through a control valve. Very, very simple. So the only other thing that we need to do is undo the flare valve and pull the stove out, the cooktop out. And out it comes. Very simple and straightforward. So the awkward thing about these two stoves, although they're both 3 burners, 3 controls, and the same size, is that the original has a flared footing right off the header, and the new unit has a longer extension of the header with a regulator that is intended to connect directly to a propane tank and control the pressure into the stove at that point. The regulator could probably be kept there, but I have to come up with a gas connection to connect the existing copper pipe into the header here. So now I have to figure out what to do about that. just pop the cover off for a minute here. Reconnect our gas and turn it on slowly. Now we should have pressure. A little bit of soapy water. Now we just use our soapy water to check for leaks. No bubbles, no leaks. It's a good idea to check all connections just to make sure there's no leaks that happen over time. And we have heat. Yes.
really good, Kurt.